the shores of Kome Island and destroyed 280 houses together with all the property and 7 business shops. So my humble request goes to the Minister of Disaster to come and support the people who have nowhere to stay at the moment and they have no food. You know the challenges that have been on the lake. The other matter of the annual concern, Honourable Speaker, is about the pledge of 20 billion His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni promised the private school in Uganda. Very Honourable Speaker, 3 weeks back I saw the Minister of Education with a small team of people calling themselves the Association of Private Schools in Uganda. And when I went deep to find out, many districts including Mukono, Jinja, Kamuli, Mbale, Masaka, they were not represented. And we have come to know that that money is soon released to private schools. Right Honourable Speaker, my serious concern is the Minister of Education to come and give this House clear guidance of how they are going to select the private schools, because we know all private schools in this country are fully registered by the Minister of Education. There is no need to have small people somewhere to have the interest of the majority. Right Honourable Speaker, that's my prayer. I thank you.
Honourable members, on the first one, we'll ask the Prime Minister to send a team to the Kome Islands to establish the damages caused and to remedy the situation there. Secondly, concerning the private schools and the 20 billion, I saw the Minister of State for Education. I don't know, they have something to say about it. The other member I would like is complaining that the group that apparently met the Minister last week did not represent the private schools in the country, especially the up-country schools. So they would want to know, how do the up-country schools fit into the 20 billion?
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I know that the Ministry should be responding to about 8 issues that were earlier on raised. If this particular subject matter raised by the Honourable Member is not part and parcel of the 8 issues, we will extract the issue as raised and will be able to provide an answer in written form by next week, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you.
How far are you with the 8 issues? Are you ready with the 8 issues so that we can put you on the order paper?
Right Honourable Speaker, the issues that are supposed to be responded to by the Minister of Education and Sports are part and parcel of today's order paper, okay, and we are ready. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. The Honourable Migadde. Honourable Migadde? Okay. Let's go to item 3.
Item 3 on the order paper, laying of papers. 3.1, Annual Report of the Auditor General for the financial year ended 30th June 2020.
Can I ask Commissioner Bahati to handle that on behalf of the Parliamentary Commission?
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to lay the annual report of the Auditor General to Parliament for the financial year ended 30th June 2020.
3.2.
Auditor General Report. Auditor General's Annual Report Performance. Auditor General's Annual Performance Report 2020.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to lay the annual performance report for the Auditor General for the year ended June 2020.
Honourable members, both those reports are sent to the Committee on Finance for perusal and report back, but as I indicated earlier in the session, we may need to arrange for better management of the annual reports of the agencies which have not been handled during these 5 sessions.
The Treasury Memorandum on the report of the Committee on Public Accounts, Local Government, on the Auditor General's report for financial year 26.
No. Item 3.3 and 3.4.
Item 3.3, the 4th National Integrity Survey Report 2018. Justice.
Minister of Justice.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, I beg to lay the 4th National Integrity Survey Report 2019.
The members sent to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for scrutiny and report back.
Item 3.4, the law revision, fines and other financial amounts in criminal matters, modification of written laws, Instrument 2021.
Minister of Justice.
Representation of the law reform, fines and other financial amounts in criminal matters, modification of written laws, Instrument 2020, to the Parliament of Uganda for approval. Right Honourable Speaker and members, the purpose of this statement is to present to Parliament the proposed law reform, fines and other financial amounts in criminal matters, modification of written laws, Instrument 2020, for your approval as required by Section 8, Subsection 2 of the Law Reform, Fines and Other Financial Matters in Criminal Matters Act 2008. The background. Right Honourable Speaker, Section 7.
They'll be examined by the committee. Just lay it.
I lay the statement.
Just lay the instrument.
Oh, okay. Most obliged, Right Honourable Speaker. I beg to lay the law reform, financial provisions, the law reform, fines and other financial amounts, criminal matters, modification written laws, Instrument 2020.
Is it law reform or law revision?
Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the law revision, fines and other financial amounts in criminal matters, modification of written laws, Instrument 2020.
2021, I think.
2021.
Okay, honourable members, to send to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for perusal and report to the House. 3.5.
Item 3.5, Treasury Memorandum on the report of the Committee on Public Accounts, Local Government, on the Auditor General's report for financial year 2016-2017 on 115 district local governments, 41 municipal councils and 63 town councils.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the Treasury Memorandum on the report of the Committee on Public Accounts, Local Government, on the Auditor General's report for the financial 2016-17 on 115 district local governments, 41 municipal councils, and 63 town councils.
Members to send to the local government, Public Accounts Committee, local governments for perusal and report back.
Item 3.4, policy statements.
3.6.
4.1, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries.
Hello, Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, this is the Ministerial Policy Statement for votes 010, 121, 122, 125, 142, 152, 155, 160, 501, up to 850 for financial year 2021-2022. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg it today.
Members to send the Secretarial Committee of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries for perusal and processing. Next.
2 is Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
Minister of Finance.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the Ministerial Policy Statement for vote 008, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
Members sent to the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development for perusal and processing.
Treasury Operations.
Minister of Finance.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the Ministerial Policy Statement for vote 130, Treasury Operations.
The members sent to the Committee on Finance, Plan, Economic Development for perusal and processing.
Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Minister of Foreign Affairs. It's not there? Okay. Public Service? Not there. Minister of Lands?
Madam Speaker and honorable members, I beg to lay the Ministerial Policy Statement for Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, covering votes 012 for Ministry of Lands and 156 Uganda Land Commission for financial year 2021-2022. I beg to lay.
The members sent to the Committee, I think, of Natural Resources? Oh? Infrastructure. Send the Committee of Physical Infrastructure for perusal and report back. Minister of Water.
Minister of Water and Environment.
Minister of Water. Minister of Energy. Minister of Energy. Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the policy statements for vote 007, vote 007, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, 102, the Electoral Commission, 105, the Uganda Law Reform Commission, 106, Uganda Human Rights Commission. 109, Law Development Center. 119, Uganda Registration Services Bureau. 133, the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. 148, Judicial Service Commission, and the report of the judiciary. I beg to lay.
Members said the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for perusal and report back. Minister of Defense. Parliamentary Commission. Commissioner Bahati, can you be the one for the Commission?
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the Ministerial Policy Statement for Vote 104, Parliamentary Commission for the financial 2021-2022.
Members sent to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for perusal and processing. Inspectorate of Government. Presidency. Office of the Auditor General. Minister of East Africa Community.
What is that?
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the Ministerial Policy Statement on Vote 021, Ministry of East African Community Affairs for financial year 2021-2022. I beg to lay.
Send the Committee on East African Affairs for perusal and processing. Kampala Capital City and Metropolitan Affairs.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay on behalf of the Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs the Ministerial Policy Statement for Ministry for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs for financial year 2021-22, covering votes 024 for Ministry of Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs and vote 122 Kampala Capital City Authority. I beg to lay. Thank you very much.
Members sent to the Committee on Presidential Affairs for perusal and expeditious processing. Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development. Minister of Internal Affairs. Minister of Local Government.
Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the Ministerial Policy Statements for the sector of local government, covering Vote 011, Minister of Local Government, Vote 147, Local Government Finance Commission, and Votes 501 up to 850 for all local governments of Uganda. I beg to lay.
Members sent to the Committee on Public Service and Local Government for perusal and processing. National Environment Management Authority. Minister of Tourism, Trade, Wildlife. Is the Minister of Public Service here? No? Okay, let's go to... You can lay on their behalf. Okay, Minister of Public Service.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the Ministerial Policy Statement for Vote 005, Ministry of Public Service for the financial 2021-2022.
Members sent to Committee on Public Service and Local Government for perusal processing. Is the Inspectorate of Government here? Now, honourable members, I know some sector ministers are not here, but these are all government documents. Can I ask the Honourable Bahati to, if the statements are there, they should be read so that they can go to the committee.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the ministerial policy statement for vote 006 and votes 201, 238 for the financial year 2021-2022 Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
The members sent to the Committee on Foreign Affairs for perusal and report back.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the ministerial policy statement for the Ministry of Water and Environment sector. I beg to lay.
The members sent to the Committee of Natural Resources and Environment for perusal and report back.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the ministerial policy statement for the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, vote 1017, vote 123, vote 312 for the financial year 2021-2022.
Members sent to the Committee of Natural Resources and Environment for perusal and processing.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the ministerial policy statement for Ministry of Defence and Veteran Affairs for the financial year 2021-2022.
Members sent to the Committee of Defence and Internal Affairs for perusal and report back.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the ministerial policy statement for the Inspectorate of Government, vote 103 for financial year 2021-2022.
Members sent to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for processing.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the ministerial policy statement for the President's votes 001, Office of the President, 002, State House, 107, Uganda AIDS Commission, 112, Ethics and Integrity, 158, Internal Security Organization, 159, External Security Organization for financial 2021-2022.
Members sent to the Committee on Presidential Affairs for perusal and report back.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the ministerial policy statement for financial 2021-2022 for vote 1018, Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development.
Members sent to the Committee on Gender, Labour and Social Development for perusal and report back.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the policy statement for Ministry of Internal Affairs, votes 009, Ministry of Internal Affairs Headquarters, vote 120, National Citizenship and Immigration Control, vote 144, Uganda Police Force, 145, Uganda Prison Service, 305, Directorate of Government Analytical Laboratory, and 309, National Identification and Registration Authority.
The members sent to the Committee on Defence and Internal Affairs for perusal and report back. Nema?
Madam Speaker, I hesitate to lay this one. It is not to the standard we agreed.
Which ministry is that?
Even this one of NEMA, we shall sort it out, Madam Speaker, tomorrow. This was Auditor General.
Okay, the one of the Auditor General sent the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development for perusal and report back. The one of NEMA is sent for the Committee on Natural Resources and Environment. So we need the one of the Tourism Ministry. It has not yet been submitted. Honorable Migade, you can now raise your issue. 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we know very well that recently Lake Victoria, the massive death of fish resulting from a number of scientific factors, and this majorly affected the Nile perch, which is the most commercial species that we have in the country. But Right Honorable Speaker, as we talk now, there is a scarcity of fish in all parts of the country, especially those on Lake Victoria. The prevailing species which is currently there is Sidontis, which is locally known as Nkolongo. And as far as our legal regime is concerned, the minister has not come before this parliament to put up regulations on how to harvest this specific type of fish. So currently, the Fisheries Protection Force, headed by the UPDF, does not allow the locals to harvest this specific species. And it is the only species now as we talk. So currently, our people are really disadvantaged because the other species are not there. So our prayer is that we are not asking for food, we are not asking for beans or posho, but our people should be allowed to harvest this specific species because it is seasonal. It is in March to July. Madam Speaker, I don't know if colleagues really understand this specific species that I'm talking about, the so-called Nkolongo. I have a look of it. If the rules are, Madam Speaker, if you allow me,
One member from the fishing community, so he understands those things better than me.
Madam Speaker, the fish looks like this. This is mature. It is not immature. So being stunted doesn't mean that it is immature. We have had colleagues like Honorable Nzou here. So we can't say that. We don't say, Madam Speaker, we can't say that.
Order, members, order.
So, Madam Speaker, we can't bar them from accessing Parliament or from contesting simply because of their size. So, Madam Speaker, my prayer is that our people should be allowed to harvest this fish because it is a mature fish. And it has been scientifically proven that this is the biggest they can go. So, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I don't know whether I have to lay this. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
We don't have capacity to store, but the minister was here. I don't know whether he's still in the vicinity. Oh, yes, Honorable Adoa, the Minister of State in charge of that in Nkolongo is here.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and members. It is true, some few months we had a challenge of Nile perch dying in our lakes, especially this side of Lake Victoria, with the side of Uganda. But it's not the first time we are experiencing that. In 2018, we had a similar incident on the side of Kenya, and in 1983 we had the same problem, which was worse than now. It's just because our scientists told us the water levels that we had, the challenge of water we had, got mixed with the swampy water. And the Nile perch needs clean water and cannot be able to breathe in cold mixed warm water. So because of that, most of the Nile perch fish died. That's why tilapia and other species that Honorable has showed us here is not dying. Unfortunately, if we use smaller size of nets to catch the said fish, it will affect the small, immature Nile perch. So I would ask the Honorable Speaker and the House to allow me consult with my technical people, and I will find time to go to Bufuma Islands to address that issue. I thank you.
And represents the islands.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank the Minister, but this specifics, you see, the young Nile perch is in deep waters. It's not normally in deep waters, normally along the shores. And this specific species that we are talking about is not on the shores, but it's in the deep waters. So, and actually it is fished during day. Nile perch majorly moves at night. And actually if you put up a net for Nile perch during the day, unless you are using hooks, but when you are using a net, you can't harvest Nile perch. So as the Minister goes, she should not only consult the technical people, because many of them may not know the practice, should also consult the members of the fishing community. Thank you very much.
Honorable Speaker, that's why I requested the Honorable Member to give me time, like maybe 2 weeks, then I will visit them. You know, when you allow the catching of this type of fish with smaller nets, it will definitely affect the other one also. It's not only at night you catch Nile perch. It's not 100% true. And you have already said the Nile perch is now scarce. The more we use smaller nets, the more we can even make it reduce the more. So please give me 2 weeks and I will visit you and handle that issue. On top of that, Honorable Speaker, we now have our fish bill under this Parliament, especially it has been referred to the Committee of Agriculture. So all these questions will be addressed soon, because the law that we had was 1951 and amended in 2011, and we have so many challenges right now which will be addressed by this new law. So only that I ask the House to help me so that we sort out this before the 11th Parliament, so that by the time we have 11th Parliament, we should be having the law that will regulate, as the Honorable Member said, some months this fish is there, some months is not there. So it would be good, some months we can suspend the fishing of the other one, and then we encourage this one. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, Honourable Minister, you come back to us in a fortnight to update us on the fate of the Nkolongo fish. Next, item 4.
Item 4 on the order paper. Motion for a resolution of Parliament to amend the resolution of Parliament authorizing government to borrow up to euros 101.88 million from the UK Export Finance for the development of solar-powered irrigation and water supply system project.
Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues. I stand to move a motion of a resolution of Parliament to amend the resolution of Parliament authorizing government to borrow up to 101.88 million euros from the UK Export Finance for the development of solar-powered irrigation and water supply systems project. And I move under Rule 55 of our Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Madam Speaker, whereas Government of Uganda, in accordance with Article 159 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, and Section 36 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, laid before Parliament a draft loan agreement for 101.88 million to be concluded between the Government of Uganda and the UK Export Finance for the development of solar powered irrigation and water supply project system, and whereas and aware that on the 17th November 2019, Parliament resolved to authorize government to borrow up to 101.88 million euros as per the terms and conditions in the draft agreement from the UK Export Finance, noting, however, that there has been further discussion and review of the project with the creditor and implementing entity, Minister of Water and Environment, on the total cost of the project, reducing the total loan amount from 101.88 million euros to a total loan amount of 95,843,490.84, thereby reducing the loan and the debt burden by 6,036,509.16 million euros, realizing therefore that there is a need to amend the total amount authorized by government for this loan. Now therefore this Parliament resolves to amend its resolution dated 17 September 2019 as follows. Government is hereby authorized to borrow up to 95 million euros 843,490.84 in accordance with the terms and conditions stated in the loan agreement from the UK Export Finance at finance the development of the solar powered irrigation and water supply system project. I beg to move.
Laugon.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I think the intention of the money is okay. And since we are just reviewing it downwards, I don't see a big problem. But, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to make a comment. When we speak about irrigation, Madam Speaker, Teso, as you might have been aware, is badly hit by drought every year.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the rule under which the Minister responsible for borrowing is moving this motion requires a written notice, which we've not been, as Parliament, briefed whether this written notice to the Speaker and the Clerk 3 days before has been given. Therefore, the procedure issue I am raising in the absence of this notice, so the Parliament will be proceeding legally to consider a motion under a rule the Minister has not complied with.
Honorable
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker and dear colleagues. I support the reduction of the money to be borrowed. But Madam Speaker, what is bothering me is that we have borrowed money for power generation, hydropower. And we're producing more than what we use, and some of that power is just wasted. I don't know where these irrigation schemes are. Wouldn't it be better if we distributed this power to those areas so that we don't lose power we have generated goes to waste at zero, benefit to us, but then we borrow more money to do the same thing that wasted power would have done. I wish the minister could just tell us, well, it's not possible to put more money in power distribution, the hydropower, which could cover what we want to do with the solar power. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
We cannot go into the merits of the motion, but I've just been shown a letter from the minister directed to the clerk, not to me, by the way, to the clerk by the PSST, dated 10th March 2021. They gave everybody except me. So this was the notice, 10th March. But yes, Chair of Finance.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the motion proposing reduction on two main grounds. One, Madam Speaker, time and again, we have always complained about increased borrowing. Therefore, any proposal to reduce borrowing is good news to the House and also to the country. Therefore, on that point, I support the motion. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, borrowing comes with associated costs in terms of interest. And here is a motion proposing that instead of borrowing to the tune of 101 million euros, we rather borrow 95 million euros and finance the difference from our own monies. What this means, there is interest foregone as a result of reducing by 6 million euros. Therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, in view of the fact that this reduction does not adversely affect the objective of the project, I would like to appeal to colleagues in the House to support the Minister's motion and we adopt it as Parliament. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Okay, Honourable members, I think the history is that on 17 September 2020, this House approved a resolution for borrowing in the sum of 95 million euros. What the Minister is doing is now cutting down by 6 million. So we already passed it, it's just cutting down. Yes.
Just like the other colleague had said, Madam Speaker, I support the motion from the Minister. However, the only thing that I wanted to observe is the issue of observing the requirements of the Constitution in terms of balancing the country. Who is going to benefit from this loan? If it's about irrigation, this is solar scheme, is it TESO on board? So those are the issues. So just make sure that CUM is catered for. Thank you.
Okay, members put the question that this House do approve the motion as proposed by the Minister. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. So accordingly, the sum is reduced downwards by euro 6,036,509.16. Thank you. Item 5.
Item 5 on the order paper, Bill second reading. The Administration of Estates, Small Estates, Special Provisions Bill 2019.
Minister of Justice.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Administration of Estates, Small Estates, Special Provisions Amendment Bill 2019 be read for a second time.
Is the motion seconded? Motion seconded. Justification.
Right, Honorable Speaker, Madam Speaker and Honorable Members, as you will recall, I introduced in this House on the 22nd of August 2019 the Administration of Estates, Small Estates, Special Provisions Amendment Bill 2019 when it was read for the first time. The objects of the bill are A. To revise the monetary jurisdiction of the Magistrates' Courts to conform to the Magistrates' Courts Act. B. To provide for the revocation of a grant of probate or letters of administration for want of jurisdiction. Salient provisions of the bill are: the bill makes provision for increasing the monetary jurisdiction of Magistrates' Courts Grade 1 from the maximum value of 50,000 shillings to the maximum value of 20 million shillings. B. It increases the monetary jurisdiction of the Chief Magistrates' Court from the maximum value of 100,000 shillings to the maximum value of 50 million shillings. C. It amends the Act to provide that probate or letters of administration may be revoked or annulled for want of jurisdiction. We have interacted with the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, with whom we have shared comments from interested parties as well as our own views. The committee also made comments and proposed amendments to the bill, to which we shall respond. Government is also in receipt of proposals. Government also received proposals intended to further improve the bill. Madam Speaker and honorable members, I beg to move that the bill entitled The Administration of Estates, Small Estates, Special Provisions Amendment Bill 2019 be read a second time.
As I invite the chair of the committee, the clerk, I think, should amend the title of the bill in the order paper. The word amendments is missing. Can I invite the chair, the reporter for the committee? Chair, Legal and Parliamentary. The Vice Chair of the committee, that's Honorable Vitangaro. committee? Can we go to the another item?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. For me, I am ready to submit the report of the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee on the Probate Resealing Amendment Bill 2019, not the small estates. My sister Veronica is supposed to submit on small estates on behalf of the chairperson.
No, it is not. Your report is not ready? Shall we go to the next item? Let's go to item 6.
Item 6 on the order paper, bill second reading, the probate resealing amendment bill 2019.
Minister of Justice.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Probate Resealing Amendment Bill 2019 be read a second time.
Motion seconded? Is the motion seconded? Is the motion seconded, honourable members? Yes, seconded. Justification.
Madam Speaker and honourable members, as you will recall, I introduced in this House on the 12th day of August 2019 the Probate Resealing Amendment Bill 2019 when it was read for the first time. The objects of the bill are: A, to repeal any reference to the Commonwealth and British courts in the Act. B, to align the Act to the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. The salient provisions in the bill are as follows. The bill makes provision for a repeal of reference to the Commonwealth and British courts in the Act, and it makes provision for amendment of Section 3 of the to provide for. It makes provision for amendment of Section 3 to provide that probate and letters of administration granted by a court of a country other than Uganda shall only be resealed in a court in Uganda where the relevant laws of that country would not be deemed contrary to the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. We have interacted with the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, with whom we have shared comments from interested parties and our own views. The committee also made comments and proposed amendments to the bill, to which I shall respond. Government is also receptive to proposals intended to further improve the bill. Madam Speaker, honorable members, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Probate Resealing Amendment Bill 2019 be now read for the second time.
Now, members, can I invite the chair of the committee to present our report?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to present the report of the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee on the Probate Resealing Amendment Bill 2019. Before I do so, Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to lay on table a copy of the report. Right Honourable Speaker, I also beg your indulgence to present an abridged version of the report, as the full report is uploaded on the iPad. Madam Speaker and colleagues, on the 12th of August 2019, Government introduced in Parliament the Probate Rescinding Amendment Bill 2019, and the bill was accordingly referred to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs pursuant to Rule 128 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. The object of the bill is to amend the Probate Rescinding Act, Cap 160, in order to repeal any reference to the Commonwealth and British courts in the Act, and to align the Act to the Constitution of Uganda. Madam Speaker, the committee interacted with the relevant stakeholders, and now we have a report. Madam Speaker, the Probate Rescinding Act is the law that governs the enforcement of letters of administration and probate granted in any part of the Commonwealth, in any foreign country, or a British court in a foreign country, and their enforcement in Uganda. When letters of administration or probate are granted in any part of the Commonwealth, in any foreign country, or a British court in a foreign country, an interested person may produce the letters or probate and deposit a copy with the High Court and have them sealed with the seal of the High Court, and thereupon shall have the force and effect and have the same operation in Uganda as if granted by that court. Before letters or probate can be enforced, Section 3 of the Act requires that the person must pay duty for the probate, or in case of letters of administration, provide security in the amount to cover the property, if any, in Uganda, to which the letters of administration relate, and prove the domicile of the deceased person. Section 4 of the Act also allows court to, if it thinks fit, on the application of any creditor, require before sealing that adequate security be given for the payment of debts due from the estate to creditors residing in Uganda. Madam Speaker and honorable members, it is important to note that the Probate Rescinding Act, Cap 160, came into force on the 30th of May 1936. Due to passage of time, some aspects of it have become outdated, especially in light of the Constitution, government policies, emerging international best practices, and the legal environment. The Act has been found over the years to be limited in scope, only applying to the enforcement of letters of administration and probate granted in any part of the Commonwealth or a British court in a foreign country. The committee notes that the limitation has meant that letters of probate granted by a court other than a court of a country belonging to the Commonwealth cannot be enforced in Uganda. This limitation means that Ugandans in those countries cannot benefit from the provisions of the Act and succession laws generally. This Act therefore needs to be expanded to reflect Uganda's position in the global world, and also reflect the fact that a Ugandan can stay or obtain letters or probate from any country in the world and not face difficulty in enforcing the same in Uganda under the provisions of the Probate Rescinding Act. This Act therefore requires amendment to remove the limitation inherent in the Act in order to give it a broader application. Madam Speaker, allow me to report on some salient areas of the bill. Number one, the short title and commencement. The bill proposes in clause 1 to provide for a short title and commencement of the bill once enacted into law. The bill proposes that the bill, once enacted into law, is to be cited as the Probate Rescinding Amendment Act 2019, and it will come into force on the date of the publication of the Gazette. The committee observes that this provision is redundant in light of sections 3, 14, and 15 of the Acts of Parliament. Section 3 of the Act, maybe I want to go there. On commencement of the bill, section 14 and Acts of Parliament Act requires that an act commences on the date as is provided in or under the act, or where no date is provided, the date of its publication as notified in the Gazette. It is therefore the recommendation of the committee that clause 1 is deleted with the justification that it is redundant in light of section 14 and 15 of the Acts of Parliament Act, Cap 2. Number 2, the interpretation of specified words used in the Act. The bill proposes in clause 2 to amend section 1 of the Principal Act by deleting the definition of the words British court in a foreign country and probate and letters of administration. The committee has examined the proposal by the bill, and whereas it is in agreement that in light of the amendments made to the Principal Act, the inclusion of the words British court in a foreign country is redundant, the proposal to delete the definition of the word probate and letters of administration should be rejected. The committee observes that deleting the word probate and letters of administration will create a lacuna as to the extent of the Principal Act, considering that the Principal Act deals with the sealing of probate and letters of administration. The committee notes that the object of the amendment to the Principal Act is to expand the application of the Act beyond countries in the Commonwealth. The committee further notes that whereas countries in the Commonwealth use the terminology probate or letter of administration to refer to the authority given to a person by court to administer the estate of a deceased person, countries applying the civil law system use different terminology. The committee is of the considered opinion that the definition should be amended to reflect the new broader application of the Act instead of being deleted as proposed. Therefore, clause 2 should stand part of the bill, albeit the definition of the word probate and letters of administration is made broader in application instead of being deleted. Number 3 is the application of the Principal Act beyond Commonwealth countries. The bill proposes to amend section 2 of the Principal Act by deleting the words of probate in any part of the Commonwealth in any foreign country, or a British court in a foreign country has either before or after the passing of this act granted, and substitute it with the following words: if any country other than Uganda grants, substitute it with the following words: of any country other than Uganda grants. Madam Speaker, the committee thinks that this amendment should be supported since it expands the Act beyond the countries that are in the Commonwealth and probate issued from British courts. The expansion of the provision of the Act will result in the enforcement of probate and letters from any country in the world. Needless to say that this is practical and reasonable, since it takes into account the fact that a Ugandan or a person domiciled in Uganda may have property in Uganda as well as in any other country in the world. In light of the above, the committee recommends for the adoption of clause 3 of the bill. Number 4, conditions to be fulfilled before receiving of probate or letters. Clause 4 of the bill proposes to amend section 3 of the Principal Act by inserting a new subclause 2 to require that letters and probate cannot be received in Uganda unless the relevant laws of the country that issued them are in conformity with the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. The committee has considered the amendment and is of the considered view that the proposed amendment is ambiguous insofar as it requires the laws of another country to conform to our constitution. The Constitution of Uganda does not make provision for the resealing of letters and probate in Uganda. The committee is also aware that laws of a country are made with the uniqueness of that country in mind, and to require another country's law to conform to the Constitution, yet the same does not guide on the resealing of probate or letters granted by a foreign court is ambiguous. The committee is of the considered opinion, therefore, that this amendment should be rejected by amending Clause 3 to ensure that countries provide reciprocal enforcement of letters or probate issued by courts in Uganda before they can have letters or probate issued by the courts in that particular country enforced in Uganda. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the committee agrees that the Probate Resealing Act Cap 160 is due for amendment as explained above. This House should therefore have the bill read for the second time and does pass. I beg to report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and members of the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. Honourable members, the report has been signed by the necessary minimum number of members. You are free to comment on the proposals. Yes, Honourable Sellers. 3 minutes. Honourable, yes. Rugazi. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Most often it's very difficult for people to process ownership of assets abroad. And I do feel this amendment comes in handy and at the right time so that it eases and smooths the process. Number two, this matter touches on the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. We cannot have laws which are not aligned to the Constitution, and therefore what we are doing is something that we delayed to do, Right Honourable Speaker. I would not even expect any member to rise up and delay this bill. Yes, it is a matter of urgency, and we should really process this law as quickly as possible. Madam Speaker, not everybody in the world belongs to Commonwealth. There are countries outside the Commonwealth. But if we limit ourselves to the Commonwealth and talking about Britain, the British law, the British courts, what of those people who are having assets in places which are not within the Commonwealth? How do we smoothen the ability to own property or take over, administer estates outside this country? Madam Speaker, because of that, I really want to agree with the committee. This bill is very brief, it is short. We can hit it and finish within today, and it is passed into law. Probate and letters of administration, I know of course somebody has been talking about the English that we use in Britain, and then in other countries, the language that we use in other constitutions, and then the language that we use outside the Commonwealth. I think it is found necessary, Madam Speaker, that we align, we find something better so that it is smoother for us to operate when somebody wants to get the resealing of probate. And therefore, I stand here to urge the House not to waste any time, but to support and agree with our committee. They have done a good job. Let us go straight away. If you agree with me, Madam Speaker, we go for committee stage. I beg to submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Sophie.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Like my colleague, Honourable Silas, has mentioned, I also want to thank the committee for the work well done. Looking at the committee report, Honourable Speaker, there are two things that we needed to align with. One, since 1930s to date, 2021, really the bill, the act as it is obsolete. The amendments are in line with the Constitution. Section 3, as was proposed by the bill initially, has been also amended by the committee, which puts it in proper alignment with the Constitution. Madam Speaker, I think we shouldn't waste time on debating this. Everything is in order. We move to another bill and align everything with the Constitution. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, honourable members, if there are no other comments, I put the question that the bill be read for a second time. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Let's go for committee stage. Committee stage.
Bills committee stage. Clause 1.
Now, members, I put the question that clause 1 do stand part of the bill.
Honorable Chair, yes. We do propose that clause 1 be deleted.
Now, members, the question is that clause 1 be deleted. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Clause 2. Put the question that clause 2 do stand part of the bill.
Honorable Chair, for section 1, we do propose, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, that paragraph 1 be repealed, and that in B, we substitute for the words probate and letters of administration the following: that probate or letters of administration include any instrument having in any country other than Uganda the same effect given to probate or letters of administration under the Succession Act, Cap 162, the Administration of Estate, Small Estate Special Provisions Act, Cap 156, or the Estate of Missing Persons Management Act, Cap 159. The justification, Right Honorable Speaker, is that the proposal to delete the definition of the word probate and letters of administration will leave a lacuna in the law as regards the instruments that the law applies to, considering that the word probate and letters of administration only has universal understanding and application in Commonwealth countries and not in all other countries. Consequential amendment arising from expansion of the application of the law from only applying to Commonwealth countries to apply to all countries of the world generally.
Honourable members, I put the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 2 as amended.
Questions that clause 2 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 3.
Put the question, clause 3 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 4.
Clause 4, Honourable Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. We propose that A, we substitute for the proposed subsection 2 the following: probate or letters of administration granted by a court of a country other than Uganda shall only be resealed in a court in Uganda where the relevant law under which the letters of administration or probate was granted is not contrary to the Succession Act, Cap 162, the Administration of Estates, Small Estate Special Provisions Act, Cap 156, or the Estate of Missing Persons Management Act, Cap 159. And B, inserting the following subsections. Okay, let's.
Right Honourable Speaker, our response to that particular clause, we reject the proposed amendment. Our reasoning being the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda in Article 31 recognizes marriage between a man and a woman and prohibits same-sex marriage. The proposal in the bill would allow the courts to only recognize and reseal letters of administration or probate granted to a spouse married under the laws recognized in Uganda. This would give the courts discretion whether or not to recognize a spouse of a same-sex marriage and therefore process his or her probate and letters of administration under the Act.
Honorable.
Thank you, Right Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Minister, the bill we are talking about is in respect of persons who have passed on and in whose estates either letters of administration have been issued or grant of probate if a will existed. Where does the question of marriage now arise when people have since passed on?
Thank you very much, my senior colleague. Upon application for letters of administration or a grant of probate, one is required to indicate the relationship with the deceased, whose property he intends to administer. Now, if I'm a man and I'm indicating that the deceased is my husband, and that is not recognizable in a country in which I intend to enforce the grant,
no.
We need not be ambiguous in law as to leave loophole for such to be recognized.
No, Honourable Member, I don't know, because you see, first the probate would have been granted in another country. It was already done. What the person is asking that I'm coming to Uganda and I need to enforce this. It's not us who are granting, it has already been granted. The other person is seeking to enforce it in Uganda. This is what this law is about. Even the letters are already granted in another country, they just want to be able to use it here.
But Honorable Chair, we would like, for us, we are ready to concede, because in Uganda we do not recognize same-sex marriages. So if we are going to honor these letters of probate, letters of administration, it should be a recognized marriage between man and woman. So if you are a woman and you come and you, as the Attorney General has said, if you are a man and you come to Uganda and say, this one was my wife, and yet he was a man, Uganda should not be able to honor those letters.
The clarification I want to hear from you, Honorable Chair, is probate and letters of administration may not necessarily be issued to a spouse or to a widow or a widower. It could even be brother, it could even a creditor, it could be anybody. Trying to connect this particular bill to issues of marriage, in my view, is going beyond what the bill seeks to do. Otherwise, you will absolutely have no enforcement of the Probate and Resealing Act, because you are now going to start opening, lifting veils
in things that do not concern you. Your interest is, has the court in that competent country, in that, the court that issued the probate of the will or letters of administration, competent to issue? If it is competent to issue, and do we have a reciprocal arrangement here? You do not have to concern yourself when it is a matter of letters of administration or probate on whether people were married under same-sex marriage or something else. Madam Chairperson, I beg.
Honourable members, I think let us not deviate into those issues. The letter of administration has been granted maybe in Germany. The order is firstly saying I'm coming to Uganda. Can Uganda allow me to receive here and operate? That's all. It has nothing to do with marriage. It could be a child. It could be...
Madam Speaker.
Yes?
We beg to concede. We need not look beyond how the grant was made. We look at how it should be administered in Uganda. I beg to concede.
Okay, now, honourable members, I also wanted the clarification. The partner states of the East African Community, here they talk about Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, but I know that for over 10 years now, the community has 6 states. I don't know whether anyone can explain why you're excluding Rwanda, Burundi, and South Sudan, because they're already members of the community. DR, I think, has applied. I don't think they've admitted them. No, those have applied, but the others are members. That's why.
Honourable Chair, that was an omission, a serious omission, so we'll gladly add them.
Okay. So we add the Republic of Rwanda, Burundi, and the Republic of South Sudan, because those are already members of the East African Community. DRC have just applied. No. They have not yet been admitted. They have applied, but they have not yet been admitted. So, honourable members, I think. So, with that amendment, I put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed. Those in favour say aye. The contrary, no. Ayes have it.
Clause 4 as amended.
Question that clause 4 as amended to stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye. The contrary.
Chair.
Yes.
Honourable Chair. We wanted to insert 2 subsections. One was A. The second one is actually provides for the East African countries as follows: that the probate or letters of administration granted by a court or a country other than Uganda shall only be received in Uganda where the relevant laws of that country allow the enforcement within that country of letters of administration or probate obtained in the courts of law in Uganda. Then subsection 3 shall not apply to a partner state of East African Community. You want to respond?
Madam Speaker, I want to.
Sorry, Right Honourable Speaker, I did not conclude. Subsection 3 shall not apply to a partner state of the East African Community. And 5, a partner state of the East African Community means the Republic of Kenya, the Republic of Uganda, and the Republic of Tanzania, and any other country granted membership to the community under Article 3 of the treaty establishing the East African Community. I beg to submit. Justification is to require a country to give reciprocal enforcement of letters and probate issued by courts of law in Uganda. 2, to require the receiving of probate or letters only where the relevant law under which the letters of administration or probate was granted is not contrary to the Succession Act, Cap 162, the Administration of Estates, Small Estates, and Special Provisions Act. Then 3, to apply the application of the Act to partner states of the East African Community. And 4, for the completeness to define partner states of the East African community. I beg to submit.
I think you want a proviso. What you're talking about is the proviso. What you are calling a new section. I think it's a proviso after 3.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Just restate it. Provided that ABCD.
After 3. 3 says, probate or letters of administration granted by a court of a country other than Uganda shall only be received in Uganda where the relevant laws of that country allow the enforcement within that country of letters of administration or probate obtained in courts of law in Uganda. Then subsection 4. Section 3 shall not apply to a partner state of the East African community. Subsection 5. A partner state of the East African community means the Republic of Kenya, the Republic of Uganda, and the United Republic of Tanzania, and any other country granted membership to the community under Article 3 of the treaty establishing the East African community. So indeed it is a proviso for...
So the numbering will be done by the drafts people. They'll have to change the numbers, the
Yes.
numbering. So we have put the question. Yes.
I had hoped we would go simultaneously through the numbering, through the numbers, but since she has gone through them all, I have to read all the responses at once.
You want to respond to the proposal?
Yes, I want to respond to the proposal.
Okay.
1, we reject the amendment. The proposed amendment will deny beneficiaries of probate or letters of administration granted abroad access to the estate where the deceased owner resided in a country that does not have a reciprocal arrangement with the government of Uganda. 2, the Act does not specify the countries with which Uganda has such a reciprocal arrangement that would recognize probate and letters of administration issued by courts in Uganda, as is the case with the Reciprocal Enforcement of Judgments Act, Cap 2021. The implication of this provision is that one can obtain letters of administration from Kenya and bring them to the land registry in Uganda for registration without first undergoing the probate resealing procedure. Such a provision has to first be agreed to by the partner states of the East African community.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson and Honourable Minister. I tend to agree with you in respect of resealing of probates granted by East African partner states. But now, in respect of reciprocity, how will you determine the validity of a probate or a letters of administration if the country that has issued it has no connection whatsoever with Uganda, be it at the diplomatic level or reciprocal enforcement level? Why would you want it to be so wide open that anybody can go to a country that has just gotten independence, purported delegate letters of administration from there, and come and enforce them here? Why don't you want reciprocity really to be included in the bill?
But, honourable members, you know, this law was simpler because we're all part of the Commonwealth. But now what we're removing is the Commonwealth. So now if I'm in a, I've been living in Brazil, I die, I issue a will, my relatives want you might even, I was saying that this bill is dealing with removing the structure of the Commonwealth and opening it up. But now if you're going to say that we must have relations with you, we must have reciprocal enforcement of judgments, what about a country like Brazil, for instance? Suppose a Ugandan has been living there, dies, issues a will, part of the property is in Brazil, part of the property is in Uganda. Then you say, you know, you in Brazil, you are speaking Spanish, we don't know what you are doing, so we can't steal your probate here? Yes, Honorable Organ.
First, Madam Chair, I think the intention of the bill is to widen the scope. And we should not again twist around and shoot our own foot. If we're after widening the scope, maybe let us talk about the mechanisms that can be placed. Maybe that can be done as something which is administrative. We can always work with other countries. Because if we now say we are going to go back to the same thing of Commonwealth, what will happen to, like you put it, Brazil, for instance? I think those who administer these provinces have a mechanism of managing what happens outside in this country to establish authenticity and make sure that everything is okay. So I think, to me, I would stand with the committee position. I beg to move.
Honorable Speaker, Chair, we were mindful of our laws being abused, and like, for example, we have seen with these issues of rice in the East African community, but given the way you have put it, it is okay, we can open it up. And then maybe later, if it is necessary, the minister can issue guidelines as to how we can deal with the other states. I beg to submit.
Madam Speaker, after consultation, I think I concede to the committee chairperson's proposal.
But, honourable members, I still think that already the East African community has got 6 countries. We are making a law when we're already 6. Here we are only talking about 3. Why don't we put the countries which are there, and then the other leg deals with those who might join us?
Madam Speaker, the proviso says the other countries that have been admitted under the protocol. Maybe as you talked about the draftsperson, that can be redone.
No, what I'm saying, members, these laws, they are, after we make them, they are available to our counterparts in the community. So you can imagine our friends in Burundi saying that you made the law but you left us out. We are part of the community. I mean, they're already part of the community. The ones we expect will be dealt by the other leg or any other country granted membership in the community. I don't know, some of these things, they may look simple, but they may cause diplomatic issues.
Chair, Honorable Chair, it is there in our proposed number 5, where it says that a partner state of East African community, where it gives what it means, and so Kenya, Uganda, Republic of Tanzania, and any other country granted membership to the East African community.
Honourable members, for the future,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. We shall write, Honourable Chair, we shall add Rwanda, Burundi,
and South Sudan.
South Sudan.
And then any other country granted membership.
Madam Chair, that definition is in the treaty. What they have actually done is to co-opt the definition in the treaty. And at the time the treaty was made, only those 3 countries were partner states. So it has nothing really to do that they are excluding those countries. It's only that the treaty as it was then described the partner states as those 3, plus others that have come in since the treaty was promulgated. So if we are to mention Rwanda, Burundi, and these other countries that have come in, then we may have to do away with the definition in the treaty.
Madam Chair, for purposes of pride to the other countries, I don't see the danger in mentioning them. Yes, then we go back and redefine the other one. I think that one would be the best route to take. Yeah. Because Rwanda, Burundi would be happy to hear their names in there. Whatever, as long as there is no damage created, why don't we do it?
Madam Speaker, I believe I buy your proposal wholly. And I want to depart from my senior colleague, Council Winfred Nwagaba. The intention is not to adopt the definition. The intention is to make a law that conforms to what the treaty says. And this law is coming to Parliament some years after the treaty is in force, and several other partner states have been brought on board. So there is no reason as to why we should not mention them and let the other part of the provision of the definition continue running. I beg to submit.
Members, the question is that the clause be amended to include the existing states of the East African Community. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. I now put the question that the entire clause as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 4 as amended.
Questions that clause 4 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
The title.
The members, I put the question that the title do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Motion for the House to resume.
Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker, I'm moving a motion. Okay. I'm moving a motion for the House to resume. Madam Chair, I move a motion for the House to that the House do resume and the Committee of the whole House do report thereto.
Now, members, the question is that the House do resume and the Committee of the whole House do report thereto. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Please.
Report from the Committee of the whole House.
Report from the committee? No, Minister.
Report from the Committee of the whole House. The Committee of the whole House has considered the Probate Resealing Amendment Bill. The Committee of the whole House has considered the Probate Resealing Amendment Bill 2019 and amended it as follows. Clause 1 is deleted. Clause 2 is amended. Clause 3 passed with amendment. Clause 3 passed without amendment.
Clause 4.
Clause 4 passed as amended.
Passed with amendment. Minister, motion for adoption.
Motion for adoption of the report from the Committee of the whole House.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the whole House. I beg to move that the report from the Committee of the whole House be adopted.
Now, members, the question is that the report of the Committee of the whole House be adopted. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Bill third reading.
Motion for third reading.
I beg to move that the bill entitled the Probate Resealing Amendment Bill 2019 be read for the third time and do pass.
Honourable members, put the question that the Probate Resealing Amendment Bill 2019 be read for the third time and do pass. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
A bill for an act entitled the Probate Resealing Amendment Act 2019.
Title settled and bill passes. Next item.
Item 8. Right Honourable Speaker, if you allow me, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you, to thank the Honourable Minister and the Honourable members and members of the committee for passing this bill. Thank you very much, because as you can see, it was about time since this law came into existence in 1936. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, allow me to say thank you to you specifically and the members of this House for the guidance. You know, none of us is superhuman. We are learning as we move, and I believe we are doing whatever we are doing in good faith for the good of our country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much again. The Committee on Legal and Parliamentary, we know we have overloaded you during this session, but I want to thank you for delivering again in the estate sector. Let's go to the next item.
Item 7, Bill second reading. The Administrator General's Amendment Bill 2019.
Minister of Justice.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the administration of the
Administrator General.
Pardon me, Madam Speaker, just a minute. We are sorry about that. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Administrator General's Amendment Bill 2019 be read for a second time.
Is the motion seconded? Motion seconded, justified?
Madam Speaker and honorable members, as you will recall, I introduced Right Honorable, you will forgive me, these notes are
You have
not
many
much.
papers.
They are not matching yet. You give me time. I beg for time.
Okay. As the minister is organizing, you know, he has so many bills. Can I invite the Minister, Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities to lay? They are not here. Can I ask the Honorable Pendi to assist the Minister for Lands, Honorable Various lady. So please assist the Minister of Tourism.
Madam Speaker, I do lay the ministerial policy statement for the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities for the financial year 2021-2022.
Members, sent to Committee on Tourism, Trade and Industry for processing and report back. Now, members, let us proceed to item 8.
No minutes. Item 8, Bill second reading, the Estates of Missing Persons and Management Amendment Bill 2019.
Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Missing Persons Management Amendment Bill 2019 be read for a second time.
Honourable members, is it seconded? Is the motion seconded? Seconded. Justify.
Madam Speaker and honourable members, as you will recall, I introduced in this House on the 12th of August 2019 the Missing Persons Management Amendment Bill 2019 when it was read for a second time. The objects of the bill are to A, allowing the age of a child in the Act to the age in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Provide for the rights of children with disabilities. Revise the monetary jurisdiction of magistrates' courts to conform to the Magistrates' Courts Act, Cap 16. Salient provisions of the bill are as follows. The bill makes provision for the amendment of the age of a minor from 21 years to the age of 18 years. Inclusion of the category of dependent relatives of a missing person, children who are above 18 years of age but below 21 years of age, who are still in school, are not married, and children with disabilities. C. The revision of monetary jurisdiction of the Magistrates' Courts to conform to the Magistrates' Courts Act, Cap 16. We have interacted with the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, with whom we have shared comments and interested parties, and our own views. The committee also made comment and proposed amendments to the bill, to which we shall respond. Government is also in receipt of proposals intended to improve the bill. Madam Speaker and honorable members, I beg to move that this bill entitled the Missing Persons Management Bill 2019 be now read for a second.
Thank you, Minister. Can we hear of the report of the committee?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm here to present the report of the committee on the bill on the Estates of Missing Persons Management Amendment Bill 2019. Madam Speaker, before I read the report, I would like to lay on table the report of the committee signed by several members. Madam Speaker, I would also like to inform you that the minutes were done concurrently, covering all the 4 bills, actually the 5 bills, starting with the succession amendment bill. So they are all consolidated in one report. But I do want to lay on table the report of the committee on the bill I'm about to present. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me also to seek your indulgence and read the abridged copy of the report, and for a more detailed analysis, I like to refer the members to the main report, which has been uploaded on their iPads. Madam Speaker and members, on the 12th of August 2019, Government introduced in Parliament the Estate of Missing Persons Management Amendment Bill 2019. The bill was accordingly referred to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs pursuant to our rules, Rule 128 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. The bill seeks to amend the Estates of the Missing Persons Management Act, Cap 159, to align the age of the child in the Act, to that age in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. 2, to provide for the rights of children with disabilities, and to revise the monetary jurisdiction of the Magistrates' Courts to conform to the Magistrates' Court Act, Cap 16. Madam Speaker and honorable members, for methodology, the committee sought and received opinions from the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Attorney General, the Uganda Law Reform Commission, the Equal Opportunities Commission, the Justice Center Uganda, and the Foundation of Human Rights Initiative. In Uganda, the administration of estates of missing persons is governed, like I said earlier, by the Estate of Missing Persons Management Act, Cap 159. Under the Estates of Missing Persons Management Act, Cap 159, Section 1F of the Estate of Missing Persons defines a missing person to mean a person who disappears from Uganda without making provisions for the administration of his or her estate, and investigations have shown that his or her whereabouts are not known. Section 2 of the same act requires where a person is a missing person without making provision for the administration of his or her estate or the maintenance of his or her dependent relatives, if any, and is not heard of within 6 months. Any relative of the missing person with the concurrence of the family may apply to court for a management order. The Act lists the court that have jurisdiction over the estates of missing persons to include magistrate grade 2, where the total value of the estate does not exceed 10,000 shillings. The magistrate grade 1, where the total value of the estate exceeds 10,000 shillings but does not exceed 50,000 shillings. A chief magistrate, where the total value of the estate exceeds 50,000 shillings but does not exceed 100,000 shillings. Or the High Court, where the value of the estate exceeds 100,000 shillings. Madam Speaker, the need for the bill. It is important to note that the estate of missing person management is almost 48 years old. Having commenced on the 1st of October 1973, due to the passage of time, some aspects of it have become outdated, especially in the light of the Constitution, government policies, emerging international best practices, and the legal environment. The committee notes that amendment of the Estate of Missing Persons Management Act is premised on the need to expand the pecuniary jurisdiction of magistrate court in granting management orders in estates of missing persons and to align the jurisdiction with the jurisdiction granted to such courts under Magistrates Court Act, Cap 16. Furthermore, the values prescribed in Section 3 of the Estates of Missing Persons Management Act have, with passage of time, been eroded by inflation, making the provision redundant and ineffective. For instance, the provision requires a missing person's estate of a value above Uganda shillings 100,000